slash small business owner, and last week I posted my very first YouTube video and it got so much love. Cannot believe the amount of love that video got. I was expecting to get maybe like 3 views from like my family. I did not expect to get 40 plus subscribers from my very first video, especially hearing other artists and small business owners relate to the content. So to say that is encouraging is an understatement. So here we are. I wanted to create my second video showing you guys how I create artwork. I want to create an art print today and I want to show you how I do it from start to finish and how I post it on all my various websites. So I want to show you how I put it on my website, how I put it on INPRNT, and how I put it on Faire. Without further ado, let's get into it. The other side of my studio, we're at my art desk, so I'm about to start just doodling a little bit. That'll be like my brainstorming. Sometimes I like to, when I think of ideas, I'll write them down in like my notes app or my Notion, which is open back there. But other times I like to just sit down and doodle. It's almost like a thumbnailing stage, if you will, but I like just to draw things and see where it goes. I will browse Pinterest a little bit just to start as like a reference point, but I don't like to stay on there too long because I get overwhelmed a bunch with all the amazing art that's on there. I do take time to admire it occasionally, but I do like to avoid it when I can, just so it doesn't influence too much of my own work. But yeah, so I am gonna open Pinterest, browse a little bit. I will use Pinterest as if I need a reference for like a fruit or animal or just anything really that I can't think of off the top of my head. But it can be a great tool. It can also be a little bit of a detriment, and sometimes I can feel it. I can feel stuck in what I want to draw. So I find the best thing to do is just put pen to paper, in my case pastels to paper, and get started.
So I was feeling very orangey and tropical vibes today, so I wanted to start off with drawing a couple oranges. Then I wanted to carry that orange theme and draw a little mimosa. And also drawing a little strawberry because I love to draw those. And then my pastel broke.
So we just did our little doodles to sort of get the creative juices flowing, and here they are. So we have a little mimosa, a strawberry, an orange slice, a few little poorly drawn leaves, but that's okay. I think I want to make something with this. This orange, like blossomy vibe is speaking to me, so that's what I think I'm gonna work with. These sort of act as thumbnails. I will thumbnail if I'm doing something a little more intricate, just so I can really play around with the layout and perspective and all that stuff. For now, I just want to draw some cute little orange blossoms and oranges, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Also, I love doing this before drawing full illustrations because a lot of the times these doodles will turn into my stickers that you see on my shop, and I think I'm gonna turn a few of these into stickers as well. But let's get started on the final piece. What do you think, girly?
So we are moving on to the final piece here. I'm starting with a light sketch with the smallest coal erase pencil in the red orangey shade. I'm keeping it very loose, as you can see here, but it's a great foundation before I start putting on the oil pastels. So I'm starting very loosely with the oranges. I like to outline everything first, so I go in with the oranges and then I outline the leaves and the flowers, and it gives me a good overall idea of how it's laying out on the page without focusing on too many small details and focusing on one orange and then the next and then the next and then realizing it doesn't exactly work. But you can tell I finished my outlines and I'm going in and filling in the oranges with sort of a medium tone. I want to be able to add shadows like I'm doing here, and then also highlight near the end. I am going in and I'm just smoothing it out with my finger a little bit before I go in with the background, and the background will help clean up those edges as you see there and fill out the flowers before I color them white. I love getting to the point in a piece where I am starting to work on the background because it really starts to pull the piece together as I envisioned it. But here I am going in with some finishing touches. I'm gonna fill in the leaves and then also fill in the flowers before we finish it up. Let me know what you think of this oil pastel drawing.
Alright, so it's currently the next day. I finished up the final illustration yesterday before I finished up my work for the day. And here she is. I am so happy with how it turned out. There are a few changes that I want to try in Photoshop, which I will show you how I do in a second. I think I want to see what it looks like when I remove this flower and this flower, and then sort of just shift everything over to like center it. It doesn't look good. I love the way this is. I just think I could improve this a little bit more. We're gonna scan it in. I'm gonna scan it in with my printer here at a pretty high DPI, so I would say around 600 DPI, and then I'm gonna show you how I use Photoshop to get ready to make prints. We're gonna test print because I am uploading these to my website. Everything on my website I print here in my studio, so I'll show you how I do the test prints, and then I'll show you how to upload it to Faire and my other shop, INPRNT, and maybe I can show you how I make stickers in another video. I love making stickers and I would love to make a video about that, especially because this is my favorite part of making stickers, is sitting down and just doodling, because then a lot of my doodles end up being my stickers because I just love the way they turn out. And I think that's because when I doodle, there's like no pressure, whereas like this, I'm very pressured to make it look good. And I feel like, as with like any artist, I like look at my work and I can just like nitpick it, like, oh, why did I do that? Kind of like why I was explaining how I kind of want to shift it over.
We are now at my computer getting ready to scan in the final art. So I will change over my screen. This is just a preview of my scan. I scan using my Epson EcoTank 2850. It has a built-in scanner. I scan in at about 600 DPI. I feel like that's a good resolution for me. Most printers actually print at 300 DPI. However, I do like to just have a little bit more to work with. You can always scale down. You can never really scale up in regards to resolution. So these are the settings that I use with my Epson scanner. This is already previewed, so now I'm gonna hit scan and it will take a sec to scan in. screen, but once it does, I'm gonna save it and then we will open it up in Photoshop. All right, so now that it's scanned in, it is in Photoshop. I do like to go around and do like a little quick zoom on this just to double check the quality. It's a little blurry in areas. This is okay. I can work with that, especially since I wanted to get rid of one of those flowers anyway to see what it looked like. If you zoom in really far, you can see all the amazing oil pastel texture. Occasionally you might see like little artifacts, like little hairs and stuff. I own cats, so their hair tends to get everywhere, so I can show you how I get rid of that. Zoom back out. It is currently upside down, so what we're gonna do is go to image and image rotation in 180, and that'll flip it the right way. Let's see, we're going to crop this down just to get rid of the edges. What I want to do is play with just cleaning it up a bit and manipulating the colors, and also manipulate it for print. You do have to consider that most things will print darker than what it appears on screen, especially with something like this that has such a dark green background. I want to lighten it up so that it'll appear when printed this color. So I'm gonna open up this hue and saturation, and we're gonna lighten it up a little bit. And I love saturation, so I'm gonna bring it up. I'm also gonna hit Control L and it'll bring up the levels panel, and this white eyedropper here, I'm gonna go ahead and click these flowers and it will automatically just brighten up the entire thing, and then you can mess around with this a little bit. So I'm gonna darken it up a bit. I find oranges and reds, they print very vibrant on paper, especially the paper that I use. So I'm gonna go back into the hue and saturation and maybe bring down the saturation just a tad and lighten it up quite a bit. So it's gonna look really light, but once you print it, at least this is what works for me, it prints out the way that the original was. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then you always have to test print to make sure it's the quality that you want. Now I wanted to go in and clean up any of those hairs that I saw previously. Photoshop has a really amazing tool. It's this spot healing brush, and you can go in and draw over these hairs and it will get rid of them like that. So I will go through all of my piece and do some spot healing. You can see a hair here. I'm just gonna do that and it takes it right off. You have to be careful. Sometimes you can really tell when something is spot healed. If I try to heal like this, let's say this big piece, you can kind of tell there's like a bit of repetitive, like this dot right here is sort of repeating over here. So you want to make sure to be really careful with it. You don't want to spot heal too much, just the little artifacts. Oh, and maybe this little guy here. On the spot healing brush, I did want to try to get rid of these flowers on the ends here to see what it would look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to turn off the bottom one. That's going to be my original. And then with this one, I'm actually going to use the spot healing brush. I'm going to see if this will work. I'm going to make the brush really big and just get rid of this flower. So like that. Do that a few times to get rid of it, and then I'm going to try to do the one on the bottom as well. You can see, gotta mess with it a few times to see if it'll work. Okay, so I'm already really liking it without the flowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag this over and sort of center the oranges a bit more, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the paint bucket tool and sort of drop it right there. I have a better idea of like how central it is, so I'm gonna go again maybe one more over and paint bucket that with a shade of the background. And now you can see where my original art ends and where the digital art begins. So what you can do is again go over with the spot healing brush, just blend it in a bit better. I don't do this with all my pieces. Touch-ups I will do in Photoshop are getting rid of the hairs and just color correcting, but I thought I'd mess around with this today to show you the tool. It can be very useful and to see what it would look like. So now it still is a bit finicky and it looks a bit repetitive, but like right here especially. I want to try to make it as seamless as possible. Okay, so I really like that actually. I think it works a bit better without those extra flowers. Yeah, let me know which version you like better, this one or this one, because I'm almost leaning towards this one a teensy bit more. Just think the two flowers feel a little out of place being outside. I can't decide actually. I do really like those two flowers because I feel like it feels more full, but I just think they look a tad out of place. Like this one, it feels like it's missing something now. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I'm gonna try this one. We'll try this one. Okay, so I have gone ahead and got it ready for print. Ready to print on the 8.5 by 11 sheet. And what I normally do before I print is I make cut lines, because I do cut these myself as well because they are 8 by 10 prints. So you can see here there's a faint outline where I just made a rectangle with a stroke of 2 pixels. Zoom right in, and you'll be able to see this dotted line, and that's where I cut. If I zoom back out using Ctrl-0, you can see this is the final print. I made sure to tag my work. I like to sign all my work. I usually will sign them by hand, but for print reproductions, I like to just make sure it's like kind of hidden in the art somewhere. Also went ahead, I have my photo for my website, and I have a lifestyle photo to upload to Faire. I'm gonna go ahead and test print this just to make sure it looks good, and then we are gonna go ahead and add it to my website. So it just printed, and it actually turned out really well. You can see my printer left a little bit of an ink splotch there, so I'm gonna have to print out a few more just to test it. But I am very happy with the colors. I love the saturation. The darks aren't too dark. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down and come back and show you the final product. As promised, I am going to show you how I upload it to my website, into Faire, into INPRNT. So let's get to it. I run my shop with Wix. That's what my website is built on, and it's actually fairly user-friendly. So these are all my products. I am going to create a new product, or to make it a little bit easier, I will duplicate a similar product. So the Sunday afternoon is a similar product. I will duplicate, and it will open up this, and I'm going to name it. So Orange Blossoms Art Print. Ooh. I'm gonna change this name down here. A goal of mine is actually to update my shop this year, and I want to create individualized descriptions, and I want to update all the product photos because some of them are not great. That's it. So I'm gonna save that. I forgot to add the photos. So I'm gonna add that to the page and save, and now it should be on my shop. So I'm gonna go to refresh, and there it is. That is the print that we made together. It looks so good. Now on Faire, I am going to go to my products, and similar, I'm gonna duplicate a similar product. So I'm going to try uploading this photo, which worked, and now I have to resize the other photo that I had, it seems. Right, and this one is called Orange Blossoms Art Print. I usually keep the same description just for simplicity and time's sake. I am making a habit of changing them up and making them a bit more unique, and like each individual one has a creative touch. But I'm gonna go down here and change some of these tags. Perfect. So I have all that set up. So I'm going to publish product, so it should show up on my Faire now. It may take a minute or so, and there it is, but the image is not. Oh, there we go. It is now updated, and that is the product listing. Finally, we're going to go to INPRNT. So this is my gallery. I just have a few on here at the moment, but I am going to go add print, and I'm going to give it the same name, Orange Blossoms Art Print, or I guess I don't really need to add that. In description, I'm going to keep it simple, oil pastel, and then 2025. And then tags, we're going to do orange, fruit, tropical, blossoms, oil pastels, oil pastels, traditional art. That's all for now, and then I'm going to add file and upload. So once that's finished uploading, it'll process, and then we can see and price the various prints. For some reason with INPRNT it says suggested price and then makes it a bit lower. I like to adjust them so that they're a tad lower than suggested, just because I'm still new to INPRNT. But I'll usually go through and add all of those, and then you get to save changes every single time you make a change, because if you switch tabs it doesn't save. I'm going to save changes, and then now it should be uploaded. So if I go ahead and view my shop, we will see this lovely orange blossoms print here. And so you can see it on a few different pieces here. So a metal print. I think I'm going to turn off sticker and mini print just because it gets cut off on the edges. So I can show you how to do that. And I may turn off card pack as well, just because I make my own cards, and if I wanted to design a card with this, I would do it a bit differently. So I'm gonna go back in to manage my shop. I'm gonna go back into Orange Blossoms, and I am gonna just uncheck sell card pack and stickers and mini prints and save those changes. And so canvas, acrylic, metal, poster, and art card. So I guess this is a bit different than the greeting or the card packs. That is quite lovely. And then the canvas print, beautiful. So that is how I scan and edit in Photoshop and upload to my website and various shops. I cannot believe how beautiful this turned out. I love it. Like I mentioned before, if you want to see me turn these into some stickers, I'm happy to do so. I would be happy to go into detail of how I turn these into stickers, from scanning them in to printing them to laminating and cutting. I would love to share that with you guys, so please let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, and I hope today's video was super helpful, and I cannot thank you guys enough for the love on my first video. It meant so much. If you'd like some stickers, please let me know. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.